Hello everyone, welcome back to Zero Generation. Today, I forgot what episode number is this, but today we got Naaj here. Could you introduce yourself a little bit more? Tell us what you do, stuff like that.
Perfect. First of all, hi.
Hi.
Thank you so much for having me, Itchy.
Of course.
A pleasure. My name is Naaj Harabi. I'm a graduate of USC, just graduated film school. I'm a comedian and filmmaker based here in LA. I'm originally from Tunisia, North Africa. Born and raised there. Lived in South Africa for a few years, and I've been living in the US for about 8 years now.
When you were like undergrad?
Yes, exactly, yes.
Wow.
I went to Notre Dame for undergrad.
Yeah. Which state was that?
Indiana, South Bend,
Indiana. Oh, the cold one.
It's insane. It's insane. And Tunisia gets so warm. It gets to, I don't know how much it is in Fahrenheit, but I know it's around...
I know Celsius. Tell me Celsius.
Beautiful. Oh my God, thank you. It's another struggle.
Yeah.
45 Celsius during the summer is normal, and it can go above
45? That's no way. That's like 120 Fahrenheit or...
Yeah, it's insane. Wait, what about you? How was it for you when you came here? Was there a huge difference in temperature?
Back home in Taiwan, in my house, we have a humidifier in each room.
Whoa.
Like here it's like, let me go get a humidifier. But back home, it's so humid.
In each room.
Yeah, and I'm like, it's a different world.
So you probably, I think we were talking about this earlier, do you enjoy going to Florida, Miami, all of those places that are...
No. LA is better than Miami based on my experience. Because I feel like humidity gives me really good skin condition. But it always just fucks up my hair. And if I need to choose one, skin or hair, I choose skin. What do you choose?
Hair.
You choose hair? Goodness. I don't know.
We're seeing so much separation. We're getting further and further as friends because of this podcast.
I guess we can agree to disagree. Okay. Have you explained to me what do you do for a living?
Yes, I am a comic and a filmmaker. I make movies and I tell jokes for a living.
Okay, damn, that's hard.
Yeah, that's why I moved to this country. So I didn't want to keep telling jokes to my sheep. I don't know if I told you the story, but I heard sheep in my village. We come from a family of shepherds. I think by the time I was, getting late to my teens, my sheep were sick of my jokes. So I had to find a new audience. And I decided to move to America.
Okay. Could you share with us, like, what was something that you have seen and it just troubles you? You're just like, no matter how long I live in this place, I won't be able to get used to it.
There are two things, but they're actually one thing.
Okay, tell me.
Right turns on a red light and a left turn on a green light where cars are coming. And then there are pedestrians also allowed to go in. And
then you see a window you need to turn.
And you have to take that window. I don't know who is setting traffic rules in this country, but that was a hard one to adapt to.
How many times it took for you to get your driver license?
In America, it was first time, but that's because my country, they have really tough rules.
But because the thing you just say, it's important thing to remember to do when you're doing the DMV driving test.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you passed on your first time. I did 5 times.
It is absolutely. Well, I'll tell you, I took the written twice.
Oh, okay. That's a bit worse than me.
That's worse than doing it 5 times, right? Yeah. I walked in the first time.
Yeah.
I got this.
Then you failed.
Yeah, they were like, come back next week, okay?
On my 4th time, I almost just gave up. I'm like, I don't need to drive. I'm just not gonna drive. I'm gonna take Uber forever.
Wait, so you didn't? You also had a problem with the turns, a right turn on a red or left?
Not really. I think I was just nervous, and I feel like they also have this stereotype that Asian lady, they're not the best drivers in the world, and
I'm sorry, Itchy.
Yep.
Yeah.
I actually asked my friend that if you call Uber, and you see my face as your driver, will you cancel it and call a new one? Some of them say yes.
Huh? Yo, these guys are brave. Eh?
Oh, I'm like, Itchy, I love you. I'm so sorry, but I might
But I don't trust you with my life.
I mean,
don't trust people who look like you with my life.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I don't know. But
I disagree, Ichi. I will let you drive me, okay?
Thank you.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. On to the next question.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't been home since 2018.
Yeah.
What kind of things that you do to stay connected with your roots?
At the beginning, not much. And that was very disastrous for one's mental health, for one's focus. It backfires. The past year and a half, something changed, which is I kind of was able to get my sister to come visit me on a tourist visa.
Nice.
And I have to tell you that has been so good for my soul because first, great home food. She's making me cook a lot of
that's
home
nice.
food. Even practicing the language with her a little bit feels really nice.
Arabic, right?
Yeah. It's basically Arabic and a little French, because we're a French colony, so it's a little mixed up. I would say having some family visit once in a while has been very helpful. And I didn't say this earlier, but the reason why I don't really get the chance to go back home for 6 years was because of the Muslim ban, if you remember. So there were a few immigration and things that happened, which we kind of used to. I mean, you just find out what the rules are and you abide by them as an immigrant. But I'm grateful to have a family visit or to even sometimes listen to some, music from home. As I said, go to nature, try to imagine my sheep on a sheepless mountain. Wait, what about you? Besides hugging McFlurry and squeezing him.
I mean, hugging McFlurry doesn't make me feel like stay connected with my root. Yeah, he's an American kid, I would say, yeah. But for me, it's like you say, at the beginning, I don't really have it. I would just keep socializing myself with other classmates or like just people in America and then kind of try to, silent the part of you that's screaming that you miss home. Yeah, I feel like if I keep myself busy and just always engage it with something like making film and stuff, then I won't care that if I am home or not. Sometimes you live here for a long time, you forget you are a foreigner until you need to fill out some legal status stuff. Yeah, and then you feel like, oh, wait, maybe sometimes I'm so different with people around me. It's because I'm from Taiwan. I would love to know some special moments in America that make you feel like you finally found a way to blend yourself into this society.
Stand-up comedy, probably. But to be honest, when I got to this country initially, I thought maybe I would go a corporate job, but deep in my heart, I always knew I wanted to be a performer.
Yeah.
And so in my undergrad, when I found the theater department at Notre Dame, the film department, I was not the same person anymore, basically, to express myself creatively.
Yeah.
I'm sure for you the same thing, because when you're dealing with software, when you're dealing with creativity, when you're dealing, it's a fair playing field for everybody. It doesn't matter, whether English is your second language, third language. Can you tell a story? Can you be present? I think when I was in film school, when I woke up every day just meeting the people I was meeting, learning. I mean, I was learning about framing shots, doing, and I was getting to go to comedy clubs and tell these random ideas / jokes I've written in my mind. I have to admit that part feels surreal. It still does feel surreal because growing up in Tunisia, North Africa, in a village in the mountains, I didn't even think this is possible, that people could make a living, a career off of anything like this. So without a doubt, that's a privilege, and I'm sure you felt the same going, when you find something you're good at or you're passionate about, and it doesn't matter what your passport color is, can you tell a story? Can you give something of meaning out of yourself? Yeah. And that's pretty defining to this country, I feel. A lot of people want to come to this country because of that reason, because they feel that they can pursue what they're passionate about and make a living out of it for themselves. I don't know what your thoughts about that. What was the thing that also made you feel like the U.S. is...
Oh, like a last outsider?
Yeah, less of an outsider, yeah.
I feel like for me... Damn, Ichi, that's a good question.
Great question, Ichi.
Let me think. When people ask, where am I from? And I say Taiwan, and they are surprised. Yeah, because I wasn't the type of the international student that will go home quite a lot. Most holiday I just stay here in LA, and I don't really like phone home that much. So sometimes people just feel, oh, I'm just another regular domestic student who has an accent, probably because her parents or something. But yeah, that will make me feel like, oh, okay, I blend right in.
Yeah. I have to admit, when I first met you, I thought you were also living here for a while, even though I was living here for 4 years. That's because how effortlessly you and McFlurry were rolling around school. I was like, this girl knows are you really an immigrant? I know you remember I started asking you too many immigrant questions. So
Yeah, it's funny. Next question. How has your love life been since you moved to America?
Da, 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 da.
Da, 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 da.
Great question, which I'm sure as everybody else, well, two things. One is relatively, escalates between horrible and great. Why? Because I think once I moved here, it was clearer to me that because, I'm Muslim, so dating kind of is different for us. If you want to maintain certain, so you cannot do certain things before marriage, or if you want to commit to it, you don't. But for me, that was a big challenge because the dating culture is different. It's very centered around, for example, alcohol, drinking, and going out. I think it's harder, but I think it's still possible. I have nothing to show for it now. You know what I mean? Once in a while you meet people, but I feel like if you're looking into certain common values or certain common traits, I don't know if languages, certain people want to be, from the same culture, same place. Not for me, but how has your experience been? I mean, I'm sure McFlurry, is a magnet for the boys. You know what I mean?
I feel like I'm dating like a single mom with McFlurry.
Does he approve of you or not?
Right? It's very important if he likes my partner. Yeah. The dating culture, it's not like we don't have it in Taiwan, but it's just different. I kind of like the freedom here in America. Like, you don't really possess your partner. I have seen a lot of people here, even though they're in a relationship, they still have the freedom to talk to other people. Not like in a romantic way. I'm so sorry. I mean, some people do that
judgment,
too.
I don't know about that, but no.
It's not like polyamory, but it's like you can go to a party as a couple, but you can talk to separate people. You don't need to always be together. Okay. Yeah. So you can still make friends, not like cheating on your partner, but you have the freedom to still explore this world as an individual. Yeah. So I feel like here compared to Taiwan, definitely people are more independent, even though when they're in a relationship. Yeah.
Would you say meeting people is easier because people are independent?
Meeting people is easier? I don't know. I like doing dating app just to see what a city is like, because you can tell a lot about a city when you just open a dating app there. It's actually funny. Even in LA, because it's such a big city, so it's neighborhood. You go to different neighborhood, you can get different people on your radar.
I see.
And that's interesting for me.
Real game from Itchy right now.
I don't mind meeting people on dating app, because for me, I like first dates. I love knowing somebody, just learn everything from the scratch. So in America, I definitely have the chance to meet a lot of different people, and sometimes like bad experience, but I always feel like, oh, this could be a writing material. Next question. Is there a day that you feel like you will never forget? Because it's like the lowest point in your life since you came here.
The worst thing about answering this question is how fast that memory comes to my mind.
Oh, damn.
When I first came, when I was going through immigration, first they stopped me in Paris. I was transiting in Paris, in Charles de Gaulle, and they brought me, and he was like, it was a U.S. Marshal, and he asked me, he was like, why do you have a Pakistani passport? No, I don't have it because it's a Tunisian passport, just green. It's just,
Okay.
I don't know, this guy is U.S. Marshal, and for him,
Yeah.
any green passport is a...
Mine is green.
I have no idea. Or maybe I look like... But basically, they called me for a random check. So they, right before the flight, I was about to leave Paris. And that was a little scary because I thought they're going to make me miss the flight. Last minute, they put me on right before the flight left. They were just asking me questions about what are you doing, why are you coming to America. And then about 11, 12 hours, I arrived to Chicago. In Chicago, I go through U.S. immigration. As I go through U.S. immigration, same thing. Why are you here? They put the passport. They're looking at your face, the passport face, back and forth. I don't know if you're ready for this story, but basically, first time coming into America, and you're like, oh my God, everything is so new. Everything is so bright. The airport, everything just felt brand new.
Yeah.
And then they send me, guess U.S. Customs, they send you a police officer. So I don't know how the system works because there are agents and then the actual police officers who would take. By the way, I've never seen a gun in my life. Even police officers in my country don't have guns.
Oh, really?
This is a true story. Back in the
What do they carry then?
Yeah, exactly. They used to carry an empty holster. We used to laugh at them. Or they have like guns from...
Really?
Yeah, literally. We used to have guns from maybe World War II or old guns that our country was not really like a crazy place. So seeing this officer with all this thing, and I'm seeing the handcuffs attached to his waist, and your brain is not thinking, this guy is just gonna go ask me some question. They take me back to this space, and they just like wait here, and then he goes, takes my passport, takes all of my documents. He takes sometimes they even take your phone.
They can search it.
Yeah, so it's very intimidating if you're not really you do not know what's happening. And I was just waiting for 3 hours and a half, maybe 4 hours in this one area. By the way, this one area I have been held in. It's like a side in O'Hare when you're exiting O'Hare International. And I know this place so well that last time I was there, I was like, man, they changed the carpets. Look at this. I feel like I already know these guys who are cleaning the place. Like, hey, man, how many kids do you have now? But anyways, I think that the intimidating part was, it was the first time in America, first time traveling alone, first time out of my country, and then I didn't have a phone, and I was still had to travel. Basically, imagine you landed in Chicago, in LAX, but then you had to find a bus that will take you to San Diego. Right, and my flight lands at 7 p.m., but they kept me in U.S. immigration, U.S. customs for another 4 hours. So now it's 11 p.m.
Oh my God!
So, but
did they feed you?
No, itchy. They don't even care about your feelings. They're not gonna feed you.
Damn.
It was messed up. This is not even the worst part that I get, and this is why the story is so just pops up. They eventually give me the passport and I finally leave. But the buses that take you to San Diego, South Bend, Indiana, and that from Chicago to South Bend, they finish at 9 p.m. Now here's how lucky I was. And it was snowing. I did not have a phone, so I did not know how to call anybody in the other place. I remember looking through, I found a McDonald's and I'm just trying to connect to the Wi-Fi of the McDonald's, trying to figure out if there's still any buses. Now you may think, Naaj, it cannot possibly get any worse than this. I find the bus very last minute. It's a delayed bus. They were late. And they delayed more. And then they started the journey. I hopped in the bus. I was like, this is great. At least now I'm going home. So exhausted because imagine I had a 6-hour flight, 12-hour flight.
Yeah,
and then
God.
And then there was 9-hour transit in Paris. And then the 4 or 5. So I was a skull of I was so dehydrated. I look bad. Now I was like, maybe God, please let this be the last of it. Please let this be the last of it. One hour into the bus drive, the bus just stops the park. Imagine you're going to San Diego, the bus driver pulls to the side and he says, good night, everybody. This is, I'm supposed to have been done with my work an hour ago, and you guys are going to have to figure it out. I think the company are going to send.
The driver took off?
The bus driver pulled out in the middle of freezing, snowy Indiana.
And what he's going to do? Call himself an Uber?
No, he said they're going to send somebody. So basically waiting. Imagine, now we wait for another 45 minutes to an hour in the middle of the cold snow. And at this point, I've never seen the snow. So my I came in with a light jacket.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Damn.
So I get to the place I was supposed to arrive to maybe around 9 p.m. I arrived the next day at like 4 a.m. And as I got out of the bus, I had these amazing people who were a connection that I met before I went to Notre Dame. It was like their host parents. They're going to host you for a day or two before you get, so it was great. They were supposed to pick me, meet me at 9 p.m. and near the school. And these guys just one bus after the other, they come in, nobody comes out.
Yeah.
So I felt even bad for these people waiting. So at 4 a.m. when I got out, they were there, luckily. And the best part is that till this very day, the gentleman who hosted me, his name is Michael and Joan Ball, these guys, God bless them. But he was, once I got off the bus, he was like, till this very day, every time I see him and he meets somebody new, he's like, this guy is the most tired person I've ever seen. He said, the first time I met this guy,
you look like a skeleton.
Exactly.
Damn, you look like you died twice.
3 times. Exactly. It was messed up. So again, it's a perfect example of what we go through as immigrants. And nobody's going to tell you, sorry, Yeah. But
I sympathize a lot with people who came here with no relatives at all. Like no parents, friends.
Yeah.
Zero.
No bubbles like USC or university to meet new people.
Yeah. That's very, very scary. Yeah.
That's the best word to describe it. Scary. It's very scary. And I don't know about you, but that's the weird thing about being an immigrant. You're oscillating between fear of immigration or what's going to happen next and all of that, and then the excitement, constant excitement of new places, new faces, new people, new experiences, right?
You're like, stimulation, too much, overload.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. That's why I kind of relate to what you said earlier about like having to find, initially you don't care about finding something to remind you of home, but eventually if you don't, it just backfires.
Yeah. It adds up.
It absolutely adds up.
And then overflow. Yeah.
I'm sure you've already, given that you've been doing the podcast for a while, you've had to tell the story of any bad experiences you've had here.
The hardest day is I just feel like no drive at all.
Yeah.
And then the suicidal thought, they will come to you at that very vulnerable moment. So then you feel sorry about yourself and also sorry about your parents, about your friends.
Yeah.
But yeah, after getting McFlurry, it's much better.
Yeah.
Yeah. People sometimes ask, what does he do for you? And I say, he kept me alive. Like literally kept me alive.
So cute.
So yeah.
I have to admit, for me, that was the thing. I mean, you earlier asked me if there were any shocking things about America. That's the other thing, mental health. I mean, I feel like we generally, most human beings, start to deal with things like anxiety, depression, late teens, early 20s, which is exactly when you moved, right?
Yeah, I moved here like 23.
Oh my God.
22, 23. Yeah.
Right after university, undergrad?
Yep.
Yeah.
That was the time.
Yeah. Would you say itchy as far as, because I'm thinking about adopting a dog for the same exact reasons. Yeah, because
that's what my therapist suggested me to do. Because she, sorry, he's a guy. He knew that I grew up with animals.
Okay.
So it will help me a lot just by having a companion. Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, it's also a little bit shocking for me to find out that you had you dealt with any episodes of depression, because you're always a joyful person. When I met you, and I was excited. I genuinely used to think, I honestly, this is honest to God. I remember when we were working also on the special together and editing, I'm like, the joy this woman has for life. I don't know how she's so excited about life like this, because I remember I come in and I'm like, let's edit this. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like I'm very optimistic. I would say 90% of the time. But then the other 10 is like bad. Yeah. but usually I'm above average. Like my optimism sometimes scare people. They'll be like, no, it won't go that well. And I'm like, why not?
Why not? You're manifesting it. They don't know how good your manifesting is.
Yeah, but yeah, that's for me. So, okay, now we have one last question for you.
Bring it on.
What kind of advice, suggestion, warning that you want to pass on?
Oh, that's a great question.
Something that will make your life easier here as a foreigner.
Well, 2. 1, don't get sick. Don't let anybody call an ambulance. Don't go get...
Yes, we cannot afford that. What do you mean being sick?
You cannot.
No.
Listen, don't... If you let's tell your friends, if you're an immigrant and you faint, or don't let them put you on the back of an ambulance for any reason, because you'll get 4, 5, 6K bill a few weeks just because they gave you some aspirin at the emergency room. That did not happen to me, but it happened to a lot of my friends.
Yeah.
The second one and the serious one is breathe. I wish somebody told me to breathe, because I feel like when you come to the US and I feel like schools, the kind of environment you and I have been in, graduate school, they don't really tell you that, because, they have a program, they have to make money as a school, they have to pass, teachers have to get their stuff in order. So nobody's going to tell you to breathe. Everybody wants you to get their stuff done. And I wish some people told me just to breathe. Whatever is going to happen, 1 is going to happen. Number 2, you can only control what you can actually control. I feel like biggest mistake I made constantly was wanting to be everywhere all at once, and enjoy think like, you know what I mean? When you're immigrant, if
you're like, I'm the king of multitasking. No, you're not.
Exactly, I'm the king. Not only, it's so insane, right? It's like 2 things. One, I'm the king of multitasking, and the other one, I'm not working hard enough. And as an immigrant, you feel like you have a village behind you, have people to make. So I wish somebody told me, just breathe, it's going to be okay. Even with immigration stuff, nobody can control who you are as a person, nothing can really define you. Just breathe. And the third advice, I know you asked me only for one. The third advice I wish I've gotten earlier was get a McFlurry. But nobody.
Yes. Get a cat if you're a cat person. Get a dog if you love dogs. Get a parrot if you want them to live longer than you. Or, I don't know, koi fish. Something like that. Yeah. That's a good advice.
Thank you, Ichi. And thank you so much for having me again.
Of course. And thank you so much for sharing your experience with our audience. And for our audience, tune in next episode. Bye.
Please. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Peace.